right, so the first exercise that we got are just some regular dumbbell hammer curls. Now, this is one of my possibly favorite dumbbell or just bicep exercises in general because you're able to go heavy with it. Now, a lot of times people end up going too heavy with this and they end up swinging this weight and not really getting much out of the exercise. The reason I say that you can go heavy with this is because of the neutral grip with your wrist. You're not going forearm, you're not going pronated with your palm facing down. You're not going supinated with your palm facing up, both of which make it a little harder. That neutral grip with your wrist makes it able for you to lift heavier weights with less tension on your joints. So I really like this exercise. Also, it's just good at building the biceps. So what you want to do here is make sure that you are focusing on keeping your elbow in the same spot throughout the entire exercise. A lot of times you see guys going too heavy and they throw it up and then they're using like their back to throw back and get this wrist, the elbow to come way forward. You want to keep that elbow in that same spot the whole time, and you want to curl it straight up, control it on the way back down, other side, straight up, control it on the way back down. If you want to go both at the same time, straight up, control it on the way back down. Do not just drop it down. Drop it down. The negative portion of the exercise is almost twice as important as the way up, just simply because people always forget about it. So by putting extra emphasis into it, you're getting more tension on the bicep. So that's exercise number one. All right, exercise number two is going to be a seated alternating curl. So a little different from the hammer curls, because with the alternating curls, what you're gonna do is start in a neutral grip, but then as you curl this weight up, you are going to supinate your wrist, which means you are gonna take your palm and they are going to end facing up. This is going to be really good for getting a nice, strong contraction. So that contraction is a little stronger than that contraction. Notice how my bicep shortens a little bit more by turning my palm up like that. That's going to help you get a nice peak contraction with that curl. So, but also I'm sitting so that you're not able to use any kind of momentum from bouncing with your knees. A great way to get rid of any kind of cheating. So I'm gonna get into a nice position. I'm gonna have my elbows in that same spot the whole time. I'm going to bring this weight up with a neutral grip. And then as I get just past my knee, I'm going to start to bring my palm to face up and back down. Other side, neutral, palm up and back down to neutral. Just like that. So keeping that elbow in the same spot the whole time, really focusing on squeezing it up at the top. You're not going up and then back down. You're not doing any of this. You see this all the time with guys at the gym, swinging with their back a little bit, not getting that full contraction. Really stop doing this and stop swinging. Curl it up, squeeze at the top, back down. Curl it up, squeeze to the top, back down. That's exercise number two. All right, so the third exercise is actually a twosome, a two-parter. So what we're gonna be doing are easy bar curls. It's a great exercise for the biceps. Also, you're able to go a little bit heavier because you're using a barbell. And I like the easy bar just simply because it's a little more comfortable on your wrists. But there's two different ways that you can do the easy bar curl. Now, probably the most common, actually I don't even know what the most common would be, but there's, like I said, you have two different ways, your outer grip and then your inner grip. The main difference between these are just going to be how it hits the bicep a little differently each way. So if you go with the outer grip, you're going to be curling this up and your wrists are going to be outside of your shoulder. This is going to be really good for targeting that short head of your bicep, which is going to be really good for thickness. Versus with your wrist inside of your shoulder, it's going to be really good. So for that versus the inner grip, which is going to be curling it up and your wrists inside your shoulder, going to be really good for that outer head of your bicep, the long head. So same thing with the form. You want to be in a nice controlled position. You want your elbows in that same spot the whole time. You're going to curl this weight up, squeeze at the top, back down, nice controlled manner. Squeeze it up, control it on the way back down. If you're going the inner grip, down in the middle, shoulders back, squeeze it up, squeeze at the top, control it on the way back down. Curl it up, squeeze at the top, control it on the way back down. Very simple, just make sure you're controlling your form. That's exercise number three. All right, the fourth exercise that we got is an incline bench hammer curl. Now this might be my favorite dumbbell exercise, or my favorite bicep exercise of all time, simply because it really works your bicep in a different way than normal and really well. So you're gonna get into this incline bench, you're gonna lean back. Now the whole emphasis here is that your elbow is behind your body. So if you're curling this weight up and your elbow's coming forward like that, you're defeating the purpose. So you want it to be back behind the line of your body, and you want it to stay back behind the line of your body. And you can supinate your wrist if you want to. Personally, I like hammer just because it goes along the line of your body. If I supinate my wrist, I typically end up hitting myself. So keeping those elbows back, you're going to curl this weight up, keeping that elbow in the same spot, squeeze it up to the top, drop it back down. You can do it both sides alternating. You can do them both sides at the same time, but just make sure you're keeping that elbow back, because by keeping that elbow back behind your body, you are going to be smashing, can you guess? The outer head of your bicep, which is the head that really I struggle with the most to develop, and it makes it look big from the side and also helps to build a big peak, which I like. So a great bicep exercise, just make sure you're keeping that elbow back throughout the entire movement. So that's exercise number 4. All right, the 5th exercise that we got is again on this incline bench, but we're gonna flip around and we're gonna face down and we're gonna do some incline bench hanging curls. Now you might call these a little bit differently. I like calling them hanging curls because your arms are going to be hanging off the end of the bench. And this is gonna be a really good for basically doing the opposite of what the incline bench hammer curls do, which you keep your elbow back behind the line of your body. These you're keeping it out in front of your body. So it's kind of like a dead weight preacher curl almost, but because it's in front of your body, you're gonna be hitting that inner head, that short head a lot better. So you're gonna grab these weights, you're gonna have them in front of your body hanging just like that. You want your shoulders to be nice and even. From there, you're going to take this and you're gonna keep these your elbows in the same spot. So when you curl up, you're not dropping your elbows back like this. You're gonna keep your elbows in that same spot. You're gonna curl forward and up, squeezing at the top, back down. Other side, keeping that elbow in the same spot, back down. You can do them both at the same time if you want. That's a lot harder, obviously, because you're doing both at once versus squeezing up to the top, back down. Make sure you're getting that full range of motion, controlling the negative, squeezing it up to the top, controlling it on the way back down. That's gonna be exercise number 5. All right, so for the 6th exercise, I'm gonna apologize if the lighting's a little off compared to over there, but this is where the Smith machine is because you're going to need the Smith machine for this one. It's going to be a drag curl. Now you can do these with dumbbells. I personally like them with the Smith machine because it does force you to do it the right way, which is with your elbows coming back and you dragging it along the line of your body. So you're gonna grab this just outside of your hips, let this go all the way down, and from there you want this basically touching your thighs. And as you curl this weight up, you don't want it coming in front of your body too much. You literally want it sliding up along your body as your elbows drive backwards, really focusing on curling this weight. So you're kind of driving your elbows back while you curl this weight up, just like that. It's called a drag curl. So driving those elbows back, curling the weight up, controlling it on the way back down. Driving them back, curling up, controlling it on the way back down, just like that. Really focusing on getting as much bicep activation as possible. Gonna be amazing for that long head because again, that elbow is going back behind the line of your body. So again, great for that peak of your bicep. So that's exercise number 6. All right, and the 7th and final bicep exercise is going to be a preacher curl. Now you can do these on the preacher curl machine. You can do these with a barbell. Personally, I like doing them with dumbbells because of the free range of motion. So what you're gonna do is get into a nice position here. One thing you wanna be careful of when you're doing this is when you do get down to the bottom, you're not letting your shoulders come forward, which is what I see with 90% of guys who are doing preacher curls, is they curl this weight up and then they come down and they let their shoulders come forward. And then they curl up, and they're like this, and they come forward and they're like that. And they have this like kind of shrug going on. You don't want that. So you want to keep your shoulders back in a nice strong position. You want that full extension, and then from there, if you want to go supinated the whole time, you can. I like starting neutral and then curling it up and supinating at the top, squeezing, then going back down in a nice controlled motion, keeping your shoulders down, squeezing it back up, controlling it on the way back down, squeezing it up, controlling it on the way back down, making sure that those shoulders are never coming forward like that. So keeping them back and down the whole time, really focusing on that mind muscle connection with that bicep. Drive those elbows down into the mat. It's one of the best tips I can give. Really focus on driving those elbows down. That way you can really emphasize using your biceps as much as possible. And that's gonna be exercise number 7. So